Hubby slept with every woman except me. My soon-to-be ex-husband was a very attractive man and I felt like the luckiest woman alive on our first date. When we married we agreed that I would be making most of the money and doing most of the housework while he cooked me dinner and completed his bachelor's degree. At least that was the plan. He flunked class after class because he refused to do the work and skipped class in favor of playing video games and complaining about how sad he was. Pre-marriage he was charming and attentive during our dates. Post-marriage he was off in his own world and getting him to agree to date night was like pulling teeth. The romance became infrequent after the honeymoon and stopped altogether after a year and a half. You see, he liked chubby girls and at 120 pounds I literally wasn't enough for him. My weight or lack thereof hadn't been a problem for the romance we had before marriage, but after marriage suddenly the pressure was on for me to gain weight. For every woman entering a marriage hoping to change her man into something he's not, there is a man doing the same to his new wife. I could not discuss this with my female friends. There are no words in our society to describe a woman trapped in a romanceless marriage. I was probably the only late 20-something woman in my entire state who had to beg her husband for romance. So from the beginning my marriage was plagued by a problem that had no name. I had always thought, perhaps naively, that marriage was supposed to resolve romantic tension, not create it. I did not get married to never have romance again. The homemade dinners dropped from every day to once a week because he was sad. He also stopped accompanying me to family and social events. Again, I did not get married to show up alone to events. But I was patient. I convinced myself that his mental illness was the problem, not our marriage. I hid any pills that might be dangerous when he talked about committing self-deletion. I came home from work each day praying I would not find my husband dead. When he said he was going to walk out our front door and not stop until he was peacefully deleted, I blocked the door with my body and called 911. I ended up canceling the 911 call after I got him to promise me he would not hurt himself while I was at work. My handle on this forum comes from the fact that our life together was like a soap opera, an endless emotional roller coaster. I never knew if he was going to ask me for cuddles or yell at me. I walked on eggshells. One time I was washing dishes, minding my own business, and he burst into the kitchen yelling, "I'm going to become an astronaut and if you don't support my dream I'm cutting you out of my life." He was 28 and still didn't have his bachelor's degree, so I was pretty sure being an astronaut was not in his future, but after that outburst I didn't say anything. I finally convinced him to seek professional help. The worst behaviors were no longer present, but we never did regain the connection we had before we were married. At that point I did not feel like a wife but like a mother to a moody teenager. His mood swings went beyond just normal bipolar disorder. He didn't want a wife, he wanted a mother substitute without the parental authority. The fact that his own mother left him with relatives in a foreign country at the age of 14 might have had something to do with it. The end of my marriage did not come when I discovered the romantically explicit texts to one of his community college students. He had by this point found work as a part-time tutor. It did not come when, a few months later, he announced his intention to leave me for yet another woman who, ironically, turned him down once he was free. No, my marriage ended the moment when I heard him come in the front door and thought, "Oh CRP, he's home." That moment came long before I had any inkling of his affairs. In a way it was a relief to discover the texts because it gave me an excuse for divorce. I had grown up in a traditional household where divorce was very much frowned upon. So much so that I forgave him and resolved to work on our marriage after I confronted him about the texts. Ultimately he left me for the other woman. So there it is. I supported this man financially and emotionally for years, only to have him turn on me when he thought the grass was greener on the other side. He even asked me to buy him a flat-screen TV as a parting gift before you could say gold digger. I told him my parting gift to him was not emulating Lorena Bobbitt after I found out about the cheating. He also asked me if I would mind vacating the condo whose bills I paid solely out of my own money whenever he wanted romantic evenings with his mistress. I told him to boil his head, take a long walk off a short pier, and then go F himself. Some people's heads are so far up their own asses. Slowly my self-respect was returning. I never realized how much I gave in to him and how much of myself I had lost in the process until I had nothing more to lose. Owing to some unusual legal circumstances he got our home, but it was 100% worth it to be free again. My traditional upbringing failed me utterly. When this COVID-19 business is over I intend to stick to escorts. At least they will actually do the job they are being paid to do, not expect me to wait on them hand and foot after putting in a full day's work, and be honest about the fact that they are seeing other women. Best of all, they will have no power to strip me of my home and half my assets. Finn. Hi guys, please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Well written. Weird as hell situation, but well written. I used to work with a morbidly obese female. At the time she was about 5 feet 9 inches and well over 350 pounds. This woman would have health problems. The doctor would tell her to lose weight so she'd get a new doctor. But eventually she did lose weight, a lot of weight, probably about 150 pounds shed. Turned out her husband liked them big too. He left her for another morbidly obese woman. I am curious, did you ever see pics of the chicks he cheated with and were they obese? Everyone is supposed to know you never marry anyone expecting to change them. But 120 pounds sounds pretty fit. Unless you're 3 feet 6 inches, was he expecting you to blow up after marriage? Was he obese? They weren't obese because he didn't like the super obese, just chubby. I met one of them once and I'd put her at around 200 pounds. And yes, he was hoping I'd get comfortable and let myself go. Regardless of gender, when two people get married they need to accept each other as is. Far from being obese, he was skinny as a rail. 6 feet 1 inch and 140 pounds. He got down to 128 after a bout of food poisoning. Believe it or not, he was not the only skinny Asian guy I know who likes chubby women. The pretty sure an astronaut is not in the future bit as gold. Oh, there's definitely some mental illness. But it was a choice for him to never do anything about it. But why would he? Free rent/food, no expectations or standards of behavior? Just frustrating to read. Yet another story like this is the one time in history you can actually effectively treat mental illness. Glad you're out. Good on you. He sounds like a piece of poop that will probably do the same thing to the next woman anyway. I would say don't give up on love though. I've had some seriously bad relationships and thought men aren't worth my time anymore, but after a few years of being single I have met my current partner who is perfect and not like other men at all. Being in a happy relationship can happen for you and it will be worth it. You just need time to recover from this one. I imagine going to escorts regularly might make you feel a bit empty because there won't be an emotional attachment. Also it will be you giving all to the relationship again and not getting anything back off the person. But good luck to you with whatever you decide to do and hope you do find happiness. Going to guess you don't need to do escorts. I'm sure you'll be able to find something free. Trust me, I'm generally right on things like this. Oh man, I relate to this so much. It was like deja vu reading this post. Married at 22, divorced by 24, I was the breadwinner and eventually I just got fed up. You are so much better off out of that relationship. I'm glad you got out. I am so sorry you had to go through with this. As a person who's been struggling with sadness all their life, I'm telling you, that does not excuse his behavior. I am well aware that my sadness puts a huge weight on my relationship with my partner, but I have always done my best to take care of it. Attended therapy as long as I could, free sessions ended and couldn't afford to pay for them, and took my meds until I got pregnant, and I can assure you, I cannot wait to be able to take them again. All this to say, sadness isn't a deal breaker until you make it one, and not making the effort, if not for you, for the person who loves you and takes care of you, definitely is it. I wish you all the best. I read this and immediately saw him as myself. I've done all of those things to both my ex-wife and my current partner. It's not excusable, but it is explained by a personality disorder caused by early traumas in my life. My hunch would be some sort of cluster B personality disorder and not bipolar. Borderline personality disorder would be my first guess, as that's my diagnosis. We tend to act out, especially towards our partners, and tend to blame our partners for everything, especially in long-term relationships. One of my psychiatrists from a hospitalization explained it as being allergic to stability and success. I'm 33, I've gone to school multiple times for different majors and will do well in school, but then won't be able to even force myself to go to class anymore after a semester or two. I have spread horrible rumors about partners and burned so many bridges. I was in a romanticless marriage and cheated to get my kicks. Hell, as far back as high school I was cheating on people because I'd get bored. Anyway, I'm not trying to excuse my or his behavior, but hopefully it is something that he can get help for and figure out. Mental illness is deadly, especially when it's not being treated.